Welcome back, Night Dweller. I'm your host, Mothy. Tonight's story takes us to a quiet gas station on the edge of town where the night is long, the woods whisper secrets, and something unseen is waiting in the dark. The night shift can be lonely, but it's the things that lurk outside the lights you have to watch for. This is part one of The Last Watcher. Keep your lights low and your senses sharp, because sometimes the things you think you've left behind aren't done with you yet.
Tune in close, dim the light, simple dark tales late at night.
The night shift at Deergrove Fuel Mart was the kind of job that demanded little and gave even less. Izora didn't mind. It was quiet, forgettable work. And after everything that had unraveled in her life, she was grateful for anything that didn't ask too many questions. The station sat just off Braywood Pike, nestled against a stretch of woods that always looked darker than they should. The air smelled faintly of damp pine and fuel, the kind of scent that clung to your clothes even after you left. Inside, the fluorescent lights buzzed overhead with a high-pitched whine that never quite faded. They cast a cold, sterile glow over the shelves of jerky, energy drinks, and motor oil. Izora leaned her elbows on the counter, her posture slouched and tired, her fingers absently rotating a cracked coffee cup between them. Her worn gray hoodie hung loosely off one shoulder, sleeves pushed up to reveal pale, smooth forearms, a reminder of her previous office job, not manual labor. It had been 3 months since she was laid off. No warning, just a quick meeting, a box of her things, and a quiet ride home. She hadn't even cried, just nodded, packed, and left. Then came the awkward phone call to her parents and the even more awkward return to Deergrove. Her room was exactly how she left it, save for the layer of dust and the too small bed. Her brother Jake lived 10 minutes away with his wife Allison and their 2 kids. He had a decent job, a modest house, and a stable life. He never said anything about her being single, unemployed, or back in her childhood room. He didn't need to. Just standing next to him felt like failure. She didn't resent him. Not really. She just wondered if she could have had something like that, a quiet, happy family. If she hadn't wasted so much time trying to salvage a relationship that left her hollow, or chasing a job that vanished. The second budgets got tight. She kept her eyes on the security monitor mounted behind the register. 4 black and white feeds blinked dully. The front lot, side pump, back alley, and narrow interior. Static flickered occasionally in the corner of the screen, but it never bothered her. If anything, she found it soothing, predictable. The coffee was bitter and burnt, just the way she preferred it. Sharp, cleansing. It kept her grounded, awake. A chime broke the silence as the glass door swung open. Izora didn't flinch. She knew the rhythm of the place by now, and this was one of its few reliable beats. "Evenin', stranger," came the familiar voice, light and honey-thick with a southern drawl. Lizzie, always the same warmth in her tone, like she was letting the sun into the room. Izora glanced up, her tired eyes meeting Lizzie's bright ones. She was carrying an armful of snacks, a mismatched pile of candy, chips, and an oversized iced tea. "Thought you had a date tonight," Izora said, her voice hoarse from disuse. Lizzie rolled her eyes as she dumped her haul onto the counter. "Boy showed up wearing a fedora and talking about crypto. I'm like, boy, you ain't no magician and this ain't Vegas," and walked right out. Izora let out a breath of amusement through her nose. A smirk tugged at the corner of her mouth. "That bad, huh?" Lizzie leaned her hip against the counter and pointed at Izora with a piece of licorice. I'd rather spend the night with someone who knows how to frown attractively. Izora shook her head, brushing hair from her face. You're just trying to sweet talk your way into free snacks again. I pay with personality, Lizzie said, tossing $10 onto the counter. But if you insist. Izora took the bill and began scanning the snacks, her motion steady. She didn't mind Lizzie's company. In fact, she looked forward to these visits. Lizzie was funny, loud in a way that didn't grate, and never treated her like she was broken. Izora didn't have many people she could call friends anymore, but if she could choose one, it would be Lizzie. No. 2:59 a.m. She glanced at the monitor. Static rolled faintly across the front lot feed. The buzz of the lights seemed to dim just slightly. A subtle shift in the air pressure made her stomach flutter. A prickle danced across her wrist, faint but insistent, like the sting of a splinter beneath her skin. Lizzie followed her gaze. That time again? Izora gave a single nod. He's always on time. The front lot security camera caught the first flicker of movement. A figure stepped into frame, tall and wrapped in a hooded coat that clung to his narrow frame. He moved like someone carrying something heavy inside his skin. Not limping exactly, but dragging. The air around her seemed to thicken, the scent of pine, almost sweet. For a heartbeat, it felt like something unseen was staring straight through the screen, right at her. 3:07 a.m. He gives me the creeps, Lizzie said softly, her smile fading. Izora's pulse ticked up a notch. She didn't say anything, just watched as the man entered the building. The door chime jingled again, too sharp in the silence. The man stepped in, his hood up, shadows veiling most of his face. His coat was open just enough to reveal bare skin beneath, pale and mottled, like frostbitten marble. Scars trailed across his chest, some thin like knife slashes, others thick and jagged, ridged with healing. He didn't speak. He never did. Lizzie's arms folded, voice low. You ever see where he goes afterward? Izora shook her head as she whispered, He disappears into the woods. You think maybe he's one of them weird backwoods cult types? He went to the fridge, pulled 2 packs of raw ground beef, and brought them to the counter. His hands trembled slightly as he set them down. His nails were too long, yellowed at the edges, and caked with what Izora hoped was just dirt. He placed exact change on the counter, stacking the coins neatly, one by one. Izora took the money and gave the man a small nod. He didn't wait for a receipt, just turned and walked back out, the chime fading behind him. 3:17 a.m. Izora's wrist ached. She rubbed at the skin absently, her eyes still on the screen of the security monitor. Static flickered again as the man vanished into the dark. Lizzie exhaled slowly, chewing her bottom lip. You ought to be careful, Iz. Ain't nothing good out in those woods. Izora tried to shake off the cold crawling up her spine, but the feeling lingered, gnawing at the edges of her thoughts. Izora didn't reply. Her gaze lingered on the empty lot, the trees beyond it swaying ever so slightly, though there was no wind. Something was shifting, and it had started with him. That concludes today's episode. Join us next week for another spine-tingling tale here on Simple Dark Stories. If you enjoyed this and would like to help out, please give us 5 stars and let us know what haunts your dreams. Until next time, bye-bye.